A 17-point lead for the Dallas Cowboys evaporated. A opportunity to close the game in the final minute of regulation. Also in the rearview mirror, the Jacksonville Jaguars on a pick-6 in overtime take down the Cowboys and push the Cowboys to 10-4 on the season, almost but wrapping up the NFC East and the chase against the Philadelphia Eagles. Welcome into the First Word presented by Dr. Pepper, live from the Star in Frisco. We've got Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans to break down what just happened in Jacksonville. First trip for the Cowboys down to Jacksonville since 2006, and you may want to put it off for another 16 years to go back to Jacksonville because this one's going to hurt.
Yeah, it was ugly. To me, it was a tale of two halves, especially on the offensive side of the football. First half, Dak Prescott and his offense, they seemed cool, calm, and collected. They were in complete control of this game. You saw the thunder and lightning with Zeke and Tony Pollard out there. They had it clicking on all cylinders. I don't know what happened at halftime, but when they came back, it kind of just fell apart. Offensive line started getting a little leaky out there. Jacksonville was able to get pressure on them, and we saw what that was causing. Interceptions by Dak Prescott out there. Offensively, they got to get better. And defensively, to me, it just seemed like they were off balance all game. I felt like, Jacksonville was able to do what they wanted all game, especially in the second half. Trevor Lawrence went crazy on this defense. You saw the young DBs out there get tested early and often. Calvin Joseph, you got to get a little bit better out there. 2 TDs given up, that's not going to cut it.
It's not going to cut it, Barry, but I'm going to go ahead and break it down like this. I'll make it real simple. Defensively, Jonathan Hankins, your presence was missed. These guys ran all over you today. They had 192 yards rushing. Jonathan Hankins was missed. There is nobody else on this team that plays and does what he does. That was felt today. Offensively, I mentioned it in the pregame show. 0 turnovers was necessary. Dallas went ahead and had 2. Obviously, the last one ended the game. Dallas cannot turn the ball over and expect to win ball games. The AFC South has their number right now.
AFC does have a number. One game we against the Colts, where we wait till the fourth quarter to turn it on. This team last week, the Texans, we let them stay in the game. Now we reversed it. We have not played a full game yet in the last 4 or 5 weeks. We got to find a way to play a full game, especially when we play a quarterback of this guy's caliber today. I mean, this kid came out the second half and just ripped us apart.
Yeah, you make a great point because the last full game, complete game you could really talk about is Minnesota when you won that game on the road. But last week it seemed like it was going to be the wake-up call. Off to a slow start against the Texans, needing a couple big stops late to get the win. And then this week it was the opposite. Like you said, instead of a slow start, it was a quick start. You were up 21-7 at halftime, 27-10 at a different point in the third quarter, and then Jacksonville rattles off 21 unanswered points, 34 points in the course, or I guess 33 points, bad math on my part, 33 points in the second half and overtime to get the win. How do you close games out better, especially against good teams?
You got to be disciplined. You got to be better out there. It comes down to alignment, assignment, keys, and techniques. We hear it all the time from coaches out there. A lot of the times, these guys were out of their lanes, out of their pockets, and Jacksonville was definitely able to take advantage of it. Another huge injury. I know you talked about the Hankins one, but LVE. He was having one of his best seasons as a Cowboy. We saw him stout early and often. Unfortunately, he left with that neck injury, and Jacksonville was able to take advantage of it in the ground game and in the passing game as well.
I totally agree with you, but also where there was a gaping hole was defensively in the secondary. Anthony Brown, your presence was missed.
Yes.
DeRon Bland, you stepped up and you've done what you've been doing all year long as a rookie. Heck of a job going out there making plays. But they found number 1, Kelvin Joseph. He is the weak link right now in this secondary. I was worried about Mullen not being active in this game. That was one of my concerns when we saw that inactive list, and it showed up today. They're going to have to find him and anybody else that can come up there and make some plays. I really think Al Harris in this defense and secondary is going to have to find ways to get their hands at guys on the line of scrimmage because right now people are running free.
I know who the Cowboys are. Right now they're an inconsistent team. They're searching for that true identity of who's going to lead this thing. I mean, and I ain't talking about on the field. I'm talking about guys when you come to that bench, who's going to grab these guys and say, hey, fellas, get your mind focused. Let's get locked in on what we have to do. Everybody seems to be sitting over there staring out into space. That can't happen. You're trying to make a run to make something special at the end of the year, and that's not going to happen. And when we play this next team, you got to be ready for 4 quarters. We cannot continue to decide when we want to play.
Yes.
The game will treat you in a disrespectful way if you disrespect the game. That's what we've been doing the last 3 or 4 weeks, is disrespecting the game by not giving it our all.
You really saw the way that this Jacksonville team challenged you with speed. They challenged you with play calling and consistency with that. So the defensive side of the football giving up 40 points for the first time this season. What went wrong offensively, though? Because there were some mistakes early on. Dak Prescott with an interception in the third, right in the middle of that big run from Jacksonville. And then, of course, the pick six to Jenkins to close things out at the end. What went wrong on that side of the football?
I'm not going to say it's all what went wrong right here, but that offensive line in the second half, it got leaky. And you guys all know I'm not a fan of the rotating system. I'm not a fan of it. If Tyron Smith is healthy and he's able to go in there and play, let the man stay in there. All right, we got to have continuity along the offensive line. And when you shift guys in and out like that, that continuity, it goes down. All right, it goes down. And we saw the leakage in there. Jacksonville was able to take advantage of it.
I totally agree with you. We talked about this on a pregame live show. If Tyron Smith, the absolute boss hog at the offensive line position, at the offensive tackle position in the entire league, when healthy, there's no question that he plays on the left side. You give him his role back. I don't care how good somebody's been playing ahead of him. You give him his spot back. And then what do? You put a Jason Peters over there and you experiment there. Or you put a Tyler Smith over there and you experiment there. Tyler Smith, as well as he's been playing, he gave up 2 sacks today that we saw without having watching the All-22. He gave up 2 sacks. Jason Peters gave up a sack. He got injured a couple times. They had to keep rotating guys through. The guys that are sure things, put them in their positions, and then fulfill the other roles as necessary. They have to stop this Russian roulette and this doggone musical chairs because today it hurt you.
It's funny to me. You know, when we first started this 14, 15 weeks ago, I said, fellas, it ain't going to work. And this is why it won't work. When you see a team that has no continuity on the line, games, stunts, all the blitzes, they come into effect because I work well with you, but I don't know you. Yeah. So when you come over here with me, I'm looking at you like, what we going to do? It's been confusion all year, and it's not going to get better if we don't get solid up front. We have to play with the same 5 guys all the way through. Tyron Smith said during the broadcast, and we heard the guys say, hey, I'm ready. The only thing that's holding me back is the coach. Well, let him play.
Yeah, it's a great point, and there's a lot to sort out this week. 3 games left in the regular season. You're now 3 games back in the NFC East as well. You could keep your hopes alive for a divisional title by winning next week, but really everything takes a huge hit in the loss this week to the Jacksonville Jaguars. 40-34, the final score in overtime. Here's a look at the final stats. The Cowboys were still successful on 3rd down. You take a look at the total yardage, though. Over 500 yards allowed, nearly 200 on the ground again for Jacksonville. That is a young team that needed its moment. They had its moment late in this one, and it was the defense that really dropped the ball on a couple of occasions late, and the offense for that matter. This was a complete team loss, much like there has been complete team wins for the Cowboys this season. Just didn't go in their favor. That's it for the First Word presented by Dr. Pepper. We've got more post-game reaction from the Star in Frisco coming up on DallasCowboys.com.